What's up, everybody? Welcome to Move the Six. DJ Bucky back together with you as we head towards week one of the postseason. Wildcard weekend. Buck, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm good. This is the fun part. DJ, we can talk about it like we all love football, but there's nothing like the playoffs. And the urgency and the intensity that we'll get a chance to see this weekend is exactly what playoff football is all about. And it's one of the reasons why we adore it. And so quarterback play, big players stepping up, making big plays, all these things will determine which teams advance in the tournament. And so this will be a great weekend to watch a lot of football.
Yeah, it's always fun to see who's going to step up, who's going to be kind of that under-radar player that's going to step up and make a play and help their team advance. That's what we're doing today. We are looking at these playoff games. We've got 6 matchups. We're going to dig into each one of them. And I think let's start here, Buck, at the top. Let's go with the third meeting between the Seahawks and the 49ers. That is going to be Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. That's on Fox. This is a series that was swept by the Seahawks. The Niners riding a 10-game winning streak. What are you looking for in this one?
Well, I'm looking to see how Brock Purdy performs in this game because it's a big moment. I know he has played well. The Niners offense is rolling, and they have all these playmakers around him. But still, in the playoffs, we talked about it. Games are decided by your quarterbacks and your pass rushers. Your quarterbacks have to play well. They have to be efficient. They have to make a handful of plays each game to help their team advance. And is Brock Purdy going to be capable of making those plays? To this point, he's been fantastic. Every time he's been pushed into a corner and forced to respond, he's responded in splendid fashion. Well, now, postseason, the moment, the stage, everything is bigger. Everything is a little more intense. Can the seventh round player become the guy that the Niners need him to be for this team to advance and knock off what I think is a very pesky Seattle Seahawks squad?
Yeah, I think Seattle's got a chance to make this a little bit of a game. I think offensively they're going to have to run the ball better than they did in their first 2 meetings. You didn't really get a whole lot out of Kenneth Murray in those first 2 contests, so that's going to be a challenge. See if they get that run game cranked up a little bit. But I look on the other side. We've talked so much about quarterbacks, talk about pass rush. I think this is like a Christian McCaffrey highlight reel game. I think he is jonesing and amped up for this opportunity, for this stage. He's never had a supporting cast like he has here with the 49ers. And I think you see just a little extra juice from him. I think catching the football, he's going to make the life easy on Brock Purdy. We don't know how Purdy's going to react. Obviously, it's bright lights. It's the big stage. It's the playoffs. How's he going to do? I think Christian McCaffrey's going to make it easy on him.
Yeah, I think that's the best bet. That's the way that the 49ers want to do it. Knowing Kyle Shanahan, though, I bet you he comes out running a bunch of bootlegs, a bunch of passes to get the quarterback settled early. Then they get back to the running game. And if they have their full complement of weapons, it's going to be very, very difficult for the Seattle Seahawks to kind of keep pace with what the Niners can do offensively. But the game is really going to be decided by the Niners' defense. Geno Smith has played at a remarkably high level. 30 touchdowns, led the NFL in touchdown pass. That's not exactly what you would expect to see, but they're going to bring the pressure. They're going to see if Geno Smith can make these pinpoint throws under duress. And so if the Niners defense steps up and plays the way that they've normally played this season, combined with a rushing attack and all the weapons that they have, it's going to be very challenging for the Seattle Seahawks to go on the road and get a dub.
Yeah, look, Seattle, the good thing about it is you're just kind of playing with house money right now. There's no expectations. This is a team that can go out there, play loose, have fun, see if you can't generate a couple turnovers, get to Brock Purdy, and give yourself a chance. Again, I just think the 49ers have too much. I think that defensive line, once they get a lead, those 2 young tackles are going to have a tough time with Nick Bosa and company. So I do like the San Francisco 49ers to handle this game. And I think we'll come out of this game. I'm telling you, I really believe it. I think it's going to be the Christian McCaffrey game. I mean, he could go 100-100. It wouldn't surprise me. I think he has a big time moment there. All right, let's get to our game here. This is the second game on Saturday. This is 8:15 Eastern. That's on NBC and on Peacock. The Jags, Buck, we were both there. They handled the Chargers in that first meeting in Week 3. We get the rematch here. In your prep for this one, what stood out to you? What do you think?
Well, it's a completely different game. It's a completely different game because you guys are so short-handed. The Chargers didn't have enough weapons and firepower on the perimeter to do what they normally did. Justin Herbert was dealing with rib issues, and so you can take little from that first game because if the Chargers are healthy, they really stress the Jaguars on defense. You think about who they can trot out there. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Josh Palmer has become a dude. You got Austin Eckler out of the backfield, and Jared Everett also makes contributions. So this is a very, very difficult squad to defend. And when Justin Herbert is on his game, I don't know if there's a better quarterback in the National Football League. So the key for the Jaguars is, can you make the Chargers nickel and dime the ball down the field and make this a game of red zone efficiency? Make it where, can you hold the Chargers to 3s instead of 7s? And even though they move the ball, they don't get the points. That's how the Jaguars have typically won. They haven't given up a lot of points. They created turnovers, but they conceded a lot of yards. You'll see, we'll have the chance to see if that recipe works in the postseason against a very explosive Chargers offense.
Yeah, a couple things here. There's some lineup changes, and I know, Keenan Allen not playing in that one was a big, and you had some other guys get nicked and hurt. I think one of the interesting ones, I'm trying to pull up the numbers here real quick, and I'll give it to you. So Rashawn Slater gets hurt early in that game. Storm Norton replaces him. Mm-hmm. So if you go Storm Norton in that ball game, let's go to his pass protection stats against Jacksonville in that ball game. Storm Norton has 25 pass protection reps. He gives up 3 hits, 5 hurries, 8 pressures in that game. So coming out of that game, the Chargers realized, okay, Storm Norton's not going to be the answer if Rashawn Slater's going to be gone. Obviously, he was out for the year. Maybe he'll come back if they were to advance. But they ended up giving that job to Jamari Sawyer, who played much better. So while I can say obviously Jamari Sawyer to Rashawn Slater is a big gap. Rashawn Slater is an all-pro level player. I also think the gap might be bigger, from Sawyer down to Storm Norton. So I think that's an interesting one to keep an eye on. He'll be matching up with his former college teammate Trayvon Walker on the edge, as well as Josh Allen. That's going to be a key to the ball game. And then I look on the defensive side. Remember J.C. Jackson, Buck? We were talking about him before that game in Jacksonville. Did not play well early in the season. He ends up getting hurt. He's gone for the year, and Michael Davis slides into that role. Michael Davis has played pretty well. So those are two kind of under-the-radar type players. And I think in this game, so much attention is going to be on Herbert and Trevor Lawrence, their first playoff appearances. I think kind of the offensive lines, who plays well there, and I think the secondary. I think those are the two areas I keep an eye on in this game.
Yeah, it's funny you talk about the offensive line, because last week against the Tennessee Titans, the Jaguars' offensive line did not play well, particularly on the inside. And then you think about the issues. That last game that the Chargers and Jaguars squared off, Cam Robinson was available at left tackle. Well, he's not there. You got Walker Little making a start. And you think about Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack on the edges. That could be problematic. I think the X factor for the Jaguars is Travis Etienne and what he offers, because we know Austin Eckler is going to have a huge impact on the Chargers' offensive output and the way that they kind of game plan for the Jaguars. What can Travis Etienne do? He needs to be a guy that has 100-plus scrimmage yards, because when he's involved to that level, it opens up the field for the rest of the offense. And when I look at the offense and I look at the firepower on the perimeter, you have Zay Jones and Marvin Jones and Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram. But they need the running game with Travis Etienne to be big, because as much as we would love to see a shootout for entertainment purposes, it plays in the Jaguars' favor if this game is a little more tightly contested, a little more ball control, and if they can get into the fourth quarter and see how everyone responds to the fourth quarter pressure, because that's where it's going to be decided. We can talk about playoff experience, because both these teams don't have a lot of playoff experience. It has to be a game in the fourth quarter where you can feel the ebbs and flows of the game from these emotional plays that both teams will make.
Yeah, and you hit on it. I think Etienne's a big piece of this thing for the Jags. I think Austin Eckler for the Chargers on their side of it. You've got versatile backs that can really make things happen and take some pressure off their quarterbacks. Again, I go back to kind of, we were talking about Christian McCaffrey there in that first game. It's interesting when you look at the complexion, at least on Saturday night, the running backs you're going to see can all do it, running and receiving. They're explosive weapons, and I think all of these guys have a chance to take some pressure off their quarterbacks. And I'm anxious to see. This is a big stage, for both Herbert and Trevor Lawrence. Both of them played in big games. Herbert in Rose Bowls. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence a national championship game when he was young there at Alabama or at Clemson. So I think they'll be fine handling the stage, but I do think the running backs will be key in this one as well. But Buck, what do we have here? Are we doing dinner? Are we doing dinner the night before the game? What are we doing?
I mean, we can do dinner. We can get that set up like just before the 24-hour rule, so we can get together and talk about it, have a little fun. I can show you a little bit of the sights in Jayville. We'll go to a nice spot. I can try and find a little spot near the hotel so we can get it down. See what we can do.
Yeah, well, as two former scouts, I can't wait to see which Jimmy Johns you pick out for us. I'm excited about that. Looking forward.
Oh, come on, man!
All right, let's take a cookie. Oh, hey, nice. A cookie, I'll take it. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, let's take a quick break here. We got 4 more games to get to, starting with Dolphins, Bills, Giants, Vikings. We'll get to those games right after this.
NFL Plus is here, which means no matter where you are, this is how you football. You can stream live, local, and primetime games on your phone or tablet, 45-minute game replays with NFL Plus Premium, and more. This is the NFL for every fan. This is football freedom. This is your game on the go. Go to plus.nfl.com and sign up now. DJ, there's been a lot of conversation about the AFC wildcard matchups. We have all these rematches being played in every wildcard round. But now you have one that is near and dear to my heart. Being a former member of Bill's Mafia, I know what it's like to talk about squish the fish when it comes to the Buffalo Bills taking on the Miami Dolphins, having an opportunity to see a game that we saw just a few weeks ago. What are your initial thoughts now that we know that Tua Tagovailoa is not going to be able to play?
Well, if you'd have told me last year in the spring as I'm getting ready for the draft, and these are my notes on a player, 6'0", 217, so a little under 6'2", 217 pounds. He ran 4.91. It was at the East-West. He missed 3 games with a leg injury, 12 touchdowns, 4 picks on the season. Touch and vision, average velocity. He's got poise. He's tough in the pocket. More of a game manager. I gave him a 58, which is a borderline late 7th round priority free agent type player. That's Skylar Thompson, and he's going to be starting a playoff game this weekend. So, hey, kudos to him for not only making a team, but finding a way to get on the field and be somewhat productive. And he's going to start a dang playoff game, Buck. So it's hard for me to have much optimism or confidence, even though all the weapons that the Dolphins have. That just seems awfully big here for Skylar Thompson going on the road. Tough place to play in Buffalo. A team that obviously, has tremendous talent, but obviously has a little emotional edge as well with all they've been through the last couple of weeks. I not only do I don't see the Dolphins winning this game, I don't see how it's close. Do you think we have any chance of having a close game here?
Oh, well, I do, because it's a division rival. I also think when you look at the first 2 games, both of the games have been tightly contested. The Dolphins won by 2, the Buffalo Bills won by 3, and even though you're removing the quarterback Tua, I think there's a level of confidence that the Miami Dolphins will walk into the stadium knowing that they've beaten this team and that they can compete with this team with or without their quarterback. That said, the game plan has to be one that is very complementary in nature, meaning that Josh Boyer and that defense, they're going to have to play out of their mind. They're not only going to have to keep the score down, but they're going to have to create scoring opportunities for the offense through turnovers, big plays, things that create short fields and just easy walk-in scores for this team. And then Mike McDaniels has to figure out, how am I going to set up my quarterback for success? He came over with a reputation for being an outstanding run game coordinator, created the way that he designs it, but he may not have most of it. So how do they do this? This is a game where they have to rely on the running game, but they also have to make sure that Waddle and Tyreek Hill are involved. And so I think a bunch of bubble screens, smoke screens, fly sweeps, little things that are safe in nature but may have some big play potential, those are going to be on the menu. But it has to be about the Dolphins' run defense and their defense that sets the table for this team to pull off an upset.
Yeah, I mean, look, if they have a healthy Tua, I give them a fighting chance. Here's the problem. I think what happens in this game, the Dolphins' offense struggles early in this ball game, and I think there's a tendency when that happens to your defensive player with the Dolphins, I got to make a play. Like you're saying, we've got to help the offense. We've got to give them a turnover. We've got to give them a short field. you start getting a little aggressive. And I think this Buffalo Bills team is very capable of taking advantage of that aggression, double moves, big plays, over the top. You're going to try and play a little bit out of your lane, try and be a little bit aggressive, try and do too much defensively. I think this Buffalo Bills team is going to cash in with some huge chunk plays, Buck. I don't think it's close. I think the Buffalo Bills handle them. I think it can get out of control in this game. Maybe this will be clipped off and they'll run it back and throw it in my face in Miami, but I just don't see how this is really a competitive game.
Wow, non-competitive. You're saying it's going to be like the CFP National Championship? We're going to turn it off at halftime? There's no chance for the Dolphins to pull it off?
Georgia just scored again.
Wow. No, look, it's a narrow path for the Miami Dolphins to win this game. It's going to take the defense rising up. It's also going to take the Buffalo Bills helping them, giving the ball away, having a bunch of egregious errors, blowing coverages, things that are uncharacteristic of a Sean McDermott team. Yeah, they're going to have to assist the effort for the Miami Dolphins to get it done. But I will say this, when you have explosive players like a Tyreek Hill, like a Jalen Waddle, they are a missed tackle away from putting points on the board. I think it's really on the coaching staff to see if they can set up enough opportunities for these guys to get the ball in space. And then it comes down to the defense. They have to pick and choose when they can get after Josh Allen and blitz him. But this has to be a game where it's about forcing turnovers and then cashing in on those chances. I'm with you. I think the Buffalo Bills win it. I think it's a little tighter than you're over there for guys. You're over there saying that it's a walkover. Like pencil them in. Go ahead and put them in the next round of the tournament. I think it might be a little more competitive.
Yeah, the correct word is laugher. I think it'll be a laugher, but we'll see. We'll see what happens there. All right, let's get to this next one here. This is Sunday, 4:30 Eastern. Reminder, that Dolphins-Bills game, that's Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS. This one's on Fox at 4:30. Giants-Vikings. We've talked a little bit off-air about this one. I think we're on the same page, but this, to me, feels like a Giants defensive line take over the football game. You know, this feels like the most likely upset to me of any of these teams, you know, going on the road this week. I feel pretty good about the Giants, even though, you know, offensively they're not the most dynamic team. They protect the football, they don't turn it over, and I think their defensive line's got a chance to take over the ball game.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I think this has been the upset pick that everyone is kind of riding with. And I understand it. I think in 3-6 matchups, maybe the 6th seed is the 7-1 or whatever. There's something remarkable in terms of the upsets that we have seen occur with the 6th seed winning. That said, I want to give the Minnesota Vikings credit. They have won a ton of games, even though they're one-score games. It hasn't been pretty, hasn't been perfect. They're certainly talented on offense. The trick will be who in the passing game emerges if the Giants successfully take away Justin Jefferson. The Vikings made a great trade when they got T.J. Hockenson. He's been terrific. He had a big game against the Giants the last time in terms of just the amount of targets and touches and those things. He might have to be a big factor in this. K.J. Osborne is going to have to also make plays. But if they're able to run the football, if they're able to get Dalvin Cook untracked, yeah, I think this is one where they can play from in front and really put a lot of pressure on Daniel Jones and company to have to chase points and kind of get out of character. But if it's a close game, I know what you're saying. Yeah, the Giants find a way to win those games in the fourth quarter. But I think because everyone is riding with the Giants, I think I'm going to go counterculture. I think I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings and say that they still find a way to win games because they found a way to win a bunch of games this year.
Yeah, no, look, I think it's close. Both these teams play close games. It's not just the Vikings. The Giants have been in a ton of close ball games. So, and the first meeting they had this year was close. It was a tight ball game. So I think it's close. I just think the Giants, I think there's a play to be made. I like their defensive front. Thibodeau, Ojulari, Big Dexter, I feel like they're able to get some pressure, heat up Kirk Cousins, maybe force that one mistake in the fourth quarter, and the Giants get out of there with a win. But I do think it's going to be really, to me, the two most competitive games, you tell me if we're off here, Buck, the two most competitive games I think are going to be Giants-Vikings, and I actually think it's going to be the game that we're calling with the Jags and the Chargers. I think those teams, both those games, very evenly matched.
You know, I think so. Now, going back to the Vikings and Giants, the one thing that Daniel Jones has done throughout the year, he has taken care of the football. In this game, when everything speeds up a little bit, and there's this tendency to maybe try and do a little too much, Daniel Jones is going to have the seatbelt on him. He can't turn the ball over because that is how this game can go from a close game to a blowout if he turns it over. He has avoided that all year. He has to make sure that he stays in character, plays as a game manager with a little some playmaking that he creates either with his legs or through his arm, but he can't try and do too much. He can't give the game away by turning the ball over. And I think Brian Daboll and those guys will do a great job of kind of minimizing his opportunity to make these high-risk plays. He just has to stick to the script and see if they can win it in the fourth quarter.
And we'll see what happens here. Again, that is the 3-6 game there, the 3-seed Vikings, the 6-seed Giants. That's in the NFC. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, we're going to hit on the 3-6 game in the AFC, which is the third meeting between the Ravens and the Bengals. Lots to get to with that one, as well as Cowboys and Bucks. We'll break it down right after this. All right, Buck, let's keep it rolling here. AFC, the 3-6 game, that is the 3-seed Bengals hosting the Ravens. Back-to-back times these teams will play each other. Just saw each other last week. A game where the Ravens were, resting some guys, getting some guys healthy. One of those guys that did not play in that game, that does not look like he's going to play in this game either, is Lamar Jackson. So with that, I would think that probably goes a lot of the hopes the Ravens had for making a deep run here in the postseason. But as we were just talking about off the air, when you're playing a divisional team for the third time and it's a team that has championship pedigree, like this Ravens organization does, I would not chalk this one up as an easy W.
Yeah, now this would be a much harder game for the Cincinnati Bengals. And the reason why it'd be difficult is because of that history and the legacy between the two teams. They know each other, that familiarity, that contempt that exists between them. And make no mistake, the Baltimore Ravens relish the opportunity to be the bully on the block. And even though they may not have Lamar Jackson to spearhead their offense, that defense is fully intact. You saw Roquan Smith just get his extension. He's going to be ready to play. He's going to be ready to be a part of this environment, of this type game. And so I think with John Harbaugh, a guy who has a special teams background, I think what they want to do is see if they can make this a really ugly affair. One where they don't give up points, one where they kind of grind it out, drain the clock, allow Justin Tucker to be a big part of the equation as he knocks down these long distance kicks. And if they could have a perfect game, they would love it to be a 15-minute game that's decided in the fourth quarter, and they would love their guy, Justin Tucker, to come up there and maybe knock a big kick. I don't know if they're going to be able to score enough points to be able to get it done, but I know they're going to try and make it a rock'em sock'em robot game and see if they can kind of knock the Bengals out by making them play a style that might be a little uncomfortable for the Bengals.
Yeah, and we'll see. Are we going to see Tyler Huntley or is it going to be Anthony Brown? You touched on Harbaugh's special teams background. I would not be surprised if they try and steal a possession in this game. Knowing the firepower the Cincinnati Bengals have, that whether that's an onside kick, that's a fake punt, just something try and steal a possession, and maybe even be ultra aggressive on fourth down. Getting yourself in some 4th and 1s, 4th and 2s early in the game, being aggressive and just try and put the pressure on the Cincinnati Bengals. I think that's going to be a key in this one for Harbaugh as the Ravens try and get this thing going. I do like their ability with the tight ends to work in the middle of the field. With their tight ends and you get J.K. Dobbins rolling a little bit, you can take some of that pressure off Huntley, presumably, as the quarterback there. And then defensively, as we always say with these games, these big games, Buck, red zone defense, man. Cincinnati's going to move the ball. They're going to move the ball up and down the field with all these dudes. You've got to find a way to get stops when you get down there in the red zone and like you said, kind of muck it up a little bit in this game. Yeah,
so that's why the key, all eyes will be on Joe Mixon, because Joe Mixon allows the Bengals to be able to be more efficient and effective in the red zone. And so if you're the Baltimore Ravens, it's very, very difficult to throw in tight quarters down in the red zone. So you want to make sure that Joe Mixon is a non-factor in this game, because when he gets rolling, he gives the Bengals what I think is probably the most balanced and most explosive offense that we'll find in the AFC. His ability to make these tough runs, his ability to pop out on a big run sets the table where you cannot use too deep coverage to take away Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. You have to pay a little extra attention in the box. And so if the Bengals play the right way and Zach Taylor continues to give Joe Mixon enough touches and opportunities to impact the game, it's very hard to slow down this offense. And oh, by the way, you got one of the best quarterbacks in football in Joe Burrow, who talks about his athletic arrogance. Man, every time he talks, I love what he says because he has the swag and conviction of a franchise quarterback. And I think one of the things that we'll discuss in the offseason, when we're digging deep and we're looking at quarterbacks, beyond the talent, it's that person. Do you have a little bit of that stuff that Joe Burrow exhibits every time he steps in front of the podium? Because he is really a franchise quarterback in every shape of the word.
Yeah, and I'd look for the Bengals in this one, man. If they could jump on Baltimore early, I think it could be over. Baltimore's not equipped right now to play from behind. They want to keep this a close game, a tight game. See if they can drag the Bengals into the fourth quarter and take their shot and try and win the football game. If the Bengals come out and score bang bang, it's 14-0. I just don't think Baltimore's going to be able to play in that style of game. So that's something to keep an eye on. The start of this game will be huge. Let's get to the final game there. This is the Monday nighter. This is Cowboys-Bucks. All eyes are going to be on this one. A team in the Cowboys that Tom Brady has absolutely owned, Buck. He's had no issues with the Dallas Cowboys. 7-0 career against them, including week 1 earlier this season with a W. What do you think of the Cowboys' chances here going to take on a Tampa team?
You know, it's funny. Everyone has talked about the Dallas Cowboys' failures the last game of the season, but I don't think they recognize that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers also took a L and that they are entering the tournament with a losing record. And so I know Tom Brady's a bit of the boogeyman when it comes to the way that he's perceived, and rightfully so. 7 Super Bowl rings, a long resume of comebacks and game-winning drives that really makes you fear what he is when the ball is in his hands. But the Cowboys have been the better team for the majority of the season. Which Cowboy team shows up will ultimately determine which wins, because if they run the ball, which is going to be very difficult with Vita Vea and Akeem Hicks on the inside, they have opportunities. It comes down to Dak Prescott. Will Dak Prescott give the game away with an untimely turnover like he's done the last 7 or 8 weeks, just throwing the ball to the other team? Or will the Dak Prescott that played at a high level a season ago, will that guy show up? I think this game is going to be a tight game. All the pressure is on the Dallas Cowboys because people don't expect them to knock off the boogeyman. How they handle the pressure, particularly in the early moments when they still have the memory of last year being out-physicaled in their mind, it's going to be tough, man. I want to say the Cowboys because the Cowboys are better, but I'm worried about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers kind of making it their style game and they beat them up and knock them out.
Yeah, I wrote down big plays versus boo-boos because the Cowboys take the football away, but they're going to give up some big plays as well. So that's what it is. So if Tom Brady and Mike Evans can connect and they're getting big plays in this ballgame, Tampa Bay, I think, is going to win the ballgame. But if Dallas is able to force some boo-boos from Tom Brady and turn the ball over, trying to be too aggressive, then I think that it goes the other way. Now, the number I've been mentioning this all week, I think it's the biggest stat in this ballgame. The Dallas Cowboys pass rush, 6 sacks the last 5 games. If they cannot get home, if they cannot generate pressure on Tom Brady, I don't care if the Bucs limped into this playoffs, and we can talk about how they're nowhere near what they were in their Super Bowl season. If you can't get pressure on Tom Brady, him and Mike Evans are going to have some fun. So they have got to kind of re-energize that pass rush with Dallas. That's going to be huge in this one. And I talked about some of those other games being close. I think this is another one that's pretty evenly matched. I think this is a close game. I think it's a fourth quarter game.
Yeah, I know this. If I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I've certainly worked on defending the deep ball after watching Mike Evans go bonkers the last few weeks on deep throws. They have to keep the ball in front. And what's troublesome about it for the Cowboys, we already know that Trayvon Diggs is a gambler who is prone to give up big plays. But on the other side of the field, it's been a revolving door of guys that have taken their turns being absolutely roasted on the island. And so what does Dan Quinn do to protect the young corners that are playing on the other side of Trayvon Diggs? Do they roll up and play some cover 2, which isn't really in their forte? Do they play more zone? Do they get away from playing man-to-man and then allow Tom Brady to just whip them with a million paper cuts? Is a very difficult game plan because Tom Brady's he's not going to take hits, and he's going to try to avoid the turnover while taking shots down the field. The Cowboys' defense is going to have to be on their game. And this is something that they haven't been. They haven't been on their game in a while. It's been a long time since we've seen the Cowboys play great football on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, don't take the cheese, Diggs. That's my advice, man. Do not take the cheese because you know Tampa's going to try and pick on him. They're going to try and set him up. Dangle the cheese out in front of him, Buck. Some double moves and see if he takes it, and then they can hit some home runs over the top. One thing you can't do, though, you can't hit home run balls from your back. So if this Cowboys pass rush can get back and find its way, what it looked like for the first 2 to 3 quarters of this season, then I like the Cowboys. But they've got to get their pass rush going. Any other thoughts here as we wrap this one up in terms of what to expect this weekend?
Yeah, I think in the playoffs, because everyone worries like what changes. Man, the speed, the intensity, and the physicality all escalates. This is a game where you'll see people landed on the line, and turnovers are always the deciding factor in most games. But in the playoffs, the emotional swings that accompany turnovers really changes the game. Look for the big turnover. The big turnover could decide the game, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, the last thing I will say, my final takeaway is in baseball, they use that phrase, don't try and be too big, right? You get in the box, don't try and be too big. Just see the ball, hit it the other way, do what you got to do, make contact. Don't try and hit the ball 500 feet. I think you saw it in Michigan, right, in the playoff game that Michigan had against TCU. They got too big, Buck. They didn't just play the game. Just play your game, let the game come to you. When you get your opportunities, be aggressive, take your shots, but don't go outside yourself. And I think that's a great lesson that you can take from the college playoffs into the NFL playoffs. Don't let the moment get too big, because you see it every year. You see teams that you like and you think they're ready for this moment, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, what are they doing? They're taking unnecessary risks, and it comes back to get them. Just let the game come to you a little bit here.
It's always funny, DJ, because really in the playoffs, it's really not about going and winning the game. It's making sure that you don't lose the game. It might require you to take a little more conservative approach early to just stay in the game and then allow the game to unravel. And you'll know when you can pick and choose your shots. Yeah, but the over-aggressiveness early can certainly put you in a hole that you cannot dig yourself out of.
Yeah, well, looking forward to these playoff games. Again, I'll be out in Jacksonville with Buck. We're going to see that Chargers-Jags game in person, and we'll get a chance to break that game and all these other 5 games down next week as we march through the postseason and get a little bit closer to some big draft events, including the Reese's Senior Bowl. If you missed that show, you can look that up. You can find that. We just did that earlier this week with the rosters for the Reese's Senior Bowl, so check that out. All right, that's going to do it for us. Appreciate you guys hanging with us. We'll catch you next time right here on Move the Sticks.